Hi, I'm Dan from Bicycle Junction. Thanks for tuning in today. Today we're going to do a little handover on a Riese Müller Homage. This is great for people who have bought a Homage, but it's also very useful for anyone who's bought a Riese Müller of another type, for example, a Nevo or a Charger. Most of the tech is going to be very similar. So we'll run you all through that, such as removing the battery and using the controls and using the gears. And hopefully that's very helpful for you. This is intended as a brief summary or overview of the basic functions and controls. Certainly there's more information available on our website and in the manuals that you will have received with the bike. That's the basics. Let's get started. First up, we'll go through the basics on the Nigh-On display. Press the button on the left-hand bottom of the Nigh-On display and the screen will turn on in the default setting, which is off. To change the motor power setting, use the switch on the left-hand side of the handlebar. You've got a plus and a minus button, and if I press the plus button, it'll go up to Eco, and up to Tour, to Sport, and up to Turbo. It's all color-coded. Beauty of that is that when you're riding, you can catch out of the corner of your eye what motor power setting you're in without actually having to look at the display. It's a beautiful big color display, and there are different screens that you can look at as well. Now you can scroll through the screens by either using the touch screen or using the left and right buttons on the switch. There's also a light button. That won't work on the Riese Müllers because the lights are always set to on. Now that is a setting that we can change in your firmware. So if you'd like to be able to turn the lights off, we can make that change for you. So those are the controls on the Nigh-On display. There are also a couple more controls over here. This one here controls the high and low beam lights, and the other one is the horn. You can also remove your Nigh-On display. There's a button at the back of the screen. If I press that, the screen will pop up and you can lift it away. So this is handy if you want to change the settings and views in your screen. You don't have to have it on the bike. It's also a nice security setting that when you leave your bike locked, it's easy to remove your display so that the bike can't be used. To turn it off again, just press there. Now this is a sleep function. It's also worth noting a long press will turn the screen completely off. So if I press and hold, we'll say goodbye, and that's properly off. That also means that when you turn it on again, it'll take a moment longer to boot. There you are. The last function that I'll show you on the display is the walk assist. You'll find a little button at the top of the switch on the handlebar. That's the walk assist button. So if you press that once, you'll see on the screen it says activate walk assistance, press and hold the plus button. While that's showing on the screen, if you press and hold the plus button, the bike will walk along. So we'll do that again. I'll press the walk assist button and press and hold the plus button. And there it goes. That's handy if you have a steep path to walk up and you're fully loaded. It's also handy if you have a few steps to get up, particularly having a bike with rear suspension. You can actually walk assist up those stairs usually. Other controls on the bike, you have the gear controls over here. So this bike is with a roll-off hub, so that's a 14-speed roll-off gear system with electronic shifting. And it's simply an up and down shifting. You can hear that shifting as I do it there. Now you can shift while pedaling, you can also shift while stopped at the lights. On the right hand side you also have another lever here next to the gear system, and that is for the lowerable saddle or the dropper post. That's handy and a recommended option on these bikes for if you have a technical bit of a trail to navigate, or if you simply want to put your feet firmly planted on the ground when you get to the lights. When you depress that lever, the weight of your body will push the seat down and it'll be locked in place. If you want to bring it up again when you start riding, just press the lever again and that seat will pop up to your ideal seat height again. Those are the controls on the Riese Müller. Also, another point worth noting is that all of the Riese Müllers have brake lights. So when you pull on the brake lever, you'll see that the rear light's brighter. The Homage comes with air suspension. That means that they will need to be tuned using air pressure. So with your full suspension Riese Müller, you'll receive a shock pump, and the first time you use it, if you collect it from us, we'll tune that with you and adjust the air pressure accordingly. And if you have not picked it up, if we've sent it to you fully assembled, that's one of the first things you'll need to do. There are two little air valves, one on the fork and one on the rear shock. On the fork, it's on the left-hand fork at the top of the stanchion, and there's a little cap like so that you need to remove, and the air valve looks like the valve on a car tyre. So to pump that up, take your shock pump and just wind that on. And then start pumping. Now, in order to know how much air to put in there, you're going to put the rubber ring right at the bottom of the stanchion here, and that's going to tell you how much sag there is when you jump on the bike. Basically, the rule of thumb is that when you jump on the bike, you should get about 20% sag. So if there's yay much travel on the fork, then you'd want about a finger's worth of space there for it to be set correctly. So I'll push that all the way down. And that was actually a bit much. So we'll put a little bit more air in. Reset that. And that looks about right. So you can keep pumping more in until that looks about right to your eyes. You'll get to know over time if you want it firmer or softer, and you can just adjust accordingly. Then the rear suspension follows the same kind of rule of thumb of 20%. So first off, we're going to pump that up. I'm going to take off the valve cap like so. And then we'll attach the pump. That's about right. And then we'll just undo the valve. And that's all set. There's a couple more functions on the suspension, such as lockout. So the lockout switch on the fork is just here, and turn that clockwise to lock it. And there's another one at the base here, a blue switch. There's also damping control. So damping is how much rebound the fork has and how quickly that rebounds. With a slower rebound, it'll feel a little more plush. And if you want to adjust that, you can adjust that down here on the fork. And on the red dial on the shock. After a bit of riding, you'll get to know what kind of setting you prefer on that. You can always talk to us as well, just give us a call. Next, we're going to talk about the battery, how to charge it and how to care for it. Your Riese Müller, or this particular Riese Müller, comes with a dual battery system. Some Riese Müllers just come with a single battery. The process is the same. First off, we're going to talk about charging. Now, you don't need to wait until your bike is completely discharged before recharging. You can charge it anytime, whether you've used the bike for 5 minutes or 5 hours. You can charge the batteries either on the bike or outside of the bike. So it's easy to remove the batteries if you need to. To charge your battery on the bike, there's a charge port here on the Homage. And simply plug the whole bike in like so and into the wall. Now, a charge on a dual battery system like this with a fast charger will take about 6 hours. On a single battery bike with a standard charger, the charge time will usually be about 4 hours. Now, you can also charge the batteries off the bike, so I'll show you how to remove the batteries. There's 2 keyholes on this one because it's a dual battery system. Just turn and that battery will pop out like so. It's still locked in place, it can't be removed until you press the button here on the battery, and then it will come out completely. Now you can check the charge on the battery by pressing the power button here, and you'll see that the lights shine here. There are 5 bars, and this one has a full charge. To charge the battery out of the bike, you can see there's the same plug fitting here as on the bike, so just plug it straight in here. And for a single battery with a fast charger, it will probably take about 3.5 hours to charge. The beauty of charging a dual battery bike in the bike is, of course, that both of those batteries charge at the same time. There's no need to swap batteries, and there's no need to have 2 chargers. To replace the battery, just toe in like so, and it still won't go all the way in until you turn the key and then press one more time. And there it is, remove the key. Whenever you're riding the bike, don't leave the key in the lock. It's not needed for any kind of ignition or so forth. And there's always a danger of hitting it with your knee and breaking off the key if you were to do so. Now, the only other thing to know about these batteries is that if you are leaving the bike for an extended period, for example, if you're going away for 6 months or longer, then it's best to leave the bikes with half a charge, not a full charge or an empty charge. That's how the bikes ship to us, is with a half a charge in their battery. Obviously, boxed bikes can be quite a while in storage or on a ship, and so that just ensures that the batteries are in good condition the day they're sold. So this Homage is equipped with the roll-off gear system. It's the premium gear system that's available on the Riese Müller bikes. There are also the Enviolo, which is a continuously variable transmission, and traditional touring, which is a derailleur gear system. The roll-off has the widest range of gears of all of those types. So it has a 500% range as opposed to the 380% on the Enviolo. This means that even if you're fully loaded and going up particularly steep non-standard gradients, you're still going to have a very low hill climbing gear, and you're also going to have a nice top speed gear as well that doesn't have a particularly high cadence. So particularly on high speed bikes, it's nice to have that full range of gearing. The roll-off system has 14 evenly spaced gears, and this version of it uses the E-shift, so using the shift buttons here on the handlebar. There are a couple of points to note about the shifting. We find that it shifts fine under load, but shifting one gear at a time is better than shifting several gears at a time. After a bit of time riding it, you will get better at shifting multiple gears and understanding how to put lighter pressure on your pedals as you do so. With all gear systems, they can take a bit of adjustment time as you get used to it. Now, the Riese Müller bikes that come with the internal gear hubs also come with the Gates carbon belt drive. So instead of a chain, it has a carbon belt that doesn't require any lubrication and requires much less maintenance than a traditional chain. It also lasts a lot longer. It's very reliable, but gone are the days where you need to do sort of weekly lubrication of your chain to keep things all running well. The belt drive system does need to be set at a particular tension. So there is a certain tension that that belt needs to be. There is a tensioner here which provides that, and we'll set it to the correct tension before it leaves us. But along with your yearly check of your bike, that's always one of the items that, if it's not us that is checking your bike yearly, that you should ask your local bike shop to check for you. Now, with your bike, you'll also receive one of our Welcome to Your e-bike cards. There's a bunch of useful information in there. We've got a little bit in there about securing your bike, insuring it, servicing it, maintaining it, and charging it. Some of the information is the same that I've just explained in this video, but we've also recorded other important details of your bike, such as the model name, the serial number and the key number and your service dates. So particularly with the key number, it's important to keep a hold of this card for the key number and the serial number. If you do lose your keys, we can order you another set if you give us this number. Also with the serial number, we recommend you log on to the police website, that's snap.org.nz, and register your bike there with the serial number. That way, if worst comes to worst, the police have a chance of tracking down your bike if it does get stolen. So keep this card safe, maybe take a photo of it so you have it in a couple of places, and that'll be really helpful for you. Thanks for watching. If you'd like any other information about tech specs or video how-tos, check out our website at bicyclejunction.co.nz. Thanks.